everybody, it's Sinead with Indeed's Career Tips series. Welcome back to our channel. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, 9 out of 10 people have a gap in their employment. So I think it's pretty safe to say that gaps in employment are common. The truth is, life happens. Whether it's starting a family, caring for loved ones, travel, illness, losing a job, life looks different for everybody, and various life experiences can lead to gaps in our work history. So today we're going to cover how to confidently address career gaps during a job interview. And be sure to stick around until the end to learn how to address gaps on your resume too. All right, now let's get ready to shake off the nerves, focus on the good, and get to learning how to discuss your career gaps like a professional. So what are career gaps and why do they matter? Employment gaps are periods of time, both brief or extended, where a professional experiences unemployment. These gaps can range from a period of several months to several years and may be voluntary or involuntary leaves. In other words, some gaps may be taken by choice, while others are forced or simply unavoidable. Voluntary gaps may include a sabbatical or family leave. So sabbaticals are an opportunity to focus on personal growth and development. Now, this could be a chance to volunteer, explore other careers, or essentially just learn. Taking time to be introspective, work on your goals, and or venture to new places is respectable and can be effective for professional growth. Family leave, on the other hand, may not feel as invigorating as a sabbatical, but this type of leave is honorable, selfless, and it demonstrates a high sense of integrity. Another common reason for a career gap is taking time to support a family member. Whether you're educating the kiddos at home, caring for an elderly parent, or nursing someone through a chronic illness, your time is vital to another person's well-being and prosperity. This type of gap is admirable and should be addressed with pride. Involuntary gaps may include situations like layoffs or medical leave. Now, layoffs are of course never easy to talk about, but the truth is many of us face this exact same situation when the pandemic hit. Again, this gap is common, it's okay, and many recruiters are aware of this trend, so you should feel comfortable addressing your situation. Other layoffs could result from a company downsizing or restructuring, or maybe you were let go because your organization relocated or decided to outsource your position. There are so many reasons why this happens to workers, so just try to be as honest as possible when discussing your situation. Perhaps you yourself are dealing with a medical issue. This may be a chronic illness or a short-term disability. Either way, it's important to focus on the progress that you've made with your health and readiness to return to work, especially if it's following your doctor's orders. Whether your gaps are voluntary or not, the trick is to demonstrate hope and positivity. Try to recognize your growth, personally and professionally, as well as the skills that you've gained from this period in your life. Now, before we go any further, please give this video a big thumbs up so we know what's useful to you. And be sure to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss out on Indeed's career tips. Also, head down to the comments section to share your own success addressing employment gaps. Your words just may spark inspiration and encouragement in others. So how do you address gaps in employment? Whether your leave was voluntary or involuntary, some circumstances can feel really difficult to discuss. But try to stay calm, just relax, and know that there are other applicants in the exact same shoes as you. And then follow these steps. Step 1, prepare for an explanation. Gaps won't necessarily keep you from getting a job. However, employers will probably expect you to give some sort of reasoning behind why you were unemployed. So take the time to think about what you're going to say ahead of time. Try practicing in front of a mirror or recording yourself on your cell phone. Go back, replay it a few times, and then see if you sound authentic. Which brings us to step number 2, be honest and upfront. In other words, just don't shy away from the truth. As you open up about employment gaps, strive to be as truthful as you possibly can without oversharing. As an example, let's say that you took some family leave. To explain this, you could say something like, over the last 6 months, I have acted as the primary caretaker in my family. I'm grateful for having the ability to be there for my family during that time. Obviously, it was a difficult decision to take time away from working, but I always knew this leave would be temporary. I'm now ready to refocus on my career and return back to work. Now, try to avoid getting into the details like who was sick or what the sickness was. Again, of course, be honest and upfront. Just try to stay focused on your eagerness to get back to work. This basic template always works well for me. First, explain the reason for the gap. Why were you not employed? Then discuss what you did during the gap. How did you spend your time? And finally, sprinkle some optimism into your response and explain why you're ready to get back after it. How do you anticipate to fill the gaps of unemployment? Which brings me to step number 3, fill the gap. All right, yes, it's time to get specific on how you spent your time unemployed. Now, you may want to include things like how you've stayed in touch with the industry or what you've done to prepare for re-entry. For example, if you've experienced being laid off, you could say something like, last year, my former company made some organizational changes, which eliminated my position. To be honest, it was a really difficult time. But since my departure, I've done a lot of self-reflection about what I'm looking for in a career and which skills I can offer as an employee. In reviewing the job description, it looks like my interests and strengths align with the needs of the position. That's what leads me here today, and I'm looking forward to learning more about this opportunity. Now, you could also mention freelance work or volunteer work that you did. Both provide increased experience and a glimpse of your passion or interests. Now, if you took time off to further your career through gaining additional education, you could definitely discuss that as well. For example, you could say something like, I took time off from working full-time over the last 4 months to focus on attending a coding bootcamp to gain skills to further my career. During that time, I learned how to program in Java and completed several coding projects that demonstrated my new skills. Now that I have completed this training, I am so excited to return to working full-time in a junior developer role. I look forward to learning more about your company and the role that you're looking to fill. After identifying the wins during your time away from work, tie them to your next career step. How has your experiences prepared you for returning to work? Focus on transferable skills, knowledge, and experience. For example, let's say that you have a gap from being on maternity or paternity leave, but you're ready to get back to work. Consider the skills that you've gained while becoming a parent, and then connect those skills to the working world. Because let's be honest, becoming a parent will help you thrive in any high-pressure environment. Yes, I know from personal experience. Here's an example. About 4 months ago, I celebrated becoming a parent for the first time. I made the decision to leave my former company because I wanted to fully focus on this new chapter in my life. I spent a lot of late nights reviewing marketing online forums to keep a pulse on what's happening in the industry. I'm now at a point where I am ready to return to work. After reviewing your company's About Us page, it seems like you promote and encourage a strong work-life balance. This is something that has become increasingly more important to me. Based on what I know about the role, I feel like my experience helping companies grow their brand could help you achieve your immediate and long-term goals. Maybe you have been recovering from an illness or injury. Now, that is not easy, my friend. Battling an illness requires tenacity, courage, and commitment. You don't have to go into great detail about your situation, but be sure to acknowledge the challenge and that you are now ready to return to work. Here's an example. About 8 months ago, I was diagnosed with a health condition that required me to take time off of work. I wasn't excited to take the leave, but it was necessary to focus on my recovery. I'm not used to having that much downtime, so I kept myself busy taking online courses. Over the last 8 months, I have gained certifications in Microsoft Excel, project management, and business communication. Now that I'm able to manage my health, I'm looking for a role that would allow me to utilize my newfound skills and leverage my previous experience in business management. You can bridge this gap for any position. Be open-minded and give yourself the credit that you deserve. Step 4, keep it brief and exit if you need to. Everybody takes time off for all sorts of reasons, but sometimes they are personal and hard to share. However, just remember, a lot of professionals have gaps in their employment. So try to address your gaps with confidence. Explain your situation and then steer the conversation back to the interviewer. And if you feel like the conversation is going somewhere that you don't want it to go, or it's making you uncomfortable in any way, you can politely decline from answering their question. You could say something like, I'd prefer not to go into more detail. However, I am very interested in sharing more about my experience in. There is no need to shy away from a career gap. Most of us have faced them at one time or another, and we all learn and grow during this time. All right, now the last step in explaining your career gaps is step number 5. Practice sharing your story. Let's face it, for most of us, nerves are inevitable during job interviews. But by practicing your responses to potential questions about these gaps, you can ease some of that anxiety and stress. Practicing helps you stay level-headed, poised, and in the moment. And you can do this with friends or family or your bathroom mirror, or by recording yourself on your phone like we talked about earlier. As promised, it is now time for our bonus tip. Consider using a functional resume. Functional resumes focus on areas of expertise, not time periods. For example, if you're applying for a legal assistant position, you may have a section on your resume dedicated to legal experience, and another section focused on your administrative skills or assistant work. This option allows you to completely omit career gaps and may be the best option for those of you with several or larger career gaps. We actually have an entire video on functional resumes, which you can check out right up here. But for those of you using a chronological resume, you could include your gap. Instead of a company name and a position title, use a term or phrase that fits the time period. For example, personal development, caregiver, student, sabbatical, medical leave, personal leave, etc. Include a few bullet points to share what you accomplished, learned, and experienced during this time. And make it clear that this chapter in your life led to your enthusiastic return to work. Often, gaps in our work history can stir up feelings of insecurity and can lead to anxiety, but they shouldn't. All of us, at one time or another, have unexpected or planned life events that require additional or sometimes all of our attention. Find your pride, confidence, and truth in these chapters of your life. And let's quickly recap what we learned today. 1. What are career gaps and why do they matter? Do not be ashamed of taking time off, whether it was voluntary or involuntary. Gaps happen. 2. How do you address career gaps? Prepare, be honest, fill in the gaps, keep it brief, and practice to eliminate your nerves. And 3, our bonus tip, consider using a functional resume or owning your gaps on a chronological resume. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button down below and be sure to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss out on Indeed's career tips. Check out more from us and don't miss our video on informational interviewing. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Sinead and I'll see you next time.